Next up at UFC Vegas 91, we have the co-main event of the evening. We have Ryan Spann taking on Bogdan Guskov. Ryan Spann, 21-9, 30 professional fights. And he's not that old. You assume that Ryan Spann's 40 for as long as he's been out here, but he isn't. He is, however, 2-3 in his last 5, and he is riding a 2-fight losing streak. He's taking on Bogdan Guskov, 15-3 in his entire career, 4-1 in his last 5, coming off his first UFC win. This is an interesting matchup. I don't necessarily know what the UFC is trying to do here. I don't get the impression that Bogdan Guskov is a guy that the UFC is like, let's push him. I don't feel like that's what's happening here.
A former Lock of the Week winner? I think so.
Yeah, that must be what they're doing. I don't feel like that's what they're doing here, but they did just give Bogdan Guskov a co-main event against by far the biggest name of his career, because he's taking on Ryan Spann. Ryan Spann is a guy that's been around for a while. He's been fighting at a very high level for a while, and he is good. He's 6'5". He is a powerhouse. He has incredible reach. Some places he's listed at 79 inches, other places 81. Either way, he's insanely long. He hits insanely hard. He's very dangerous with 18 stoppages in those 21 wins, but it's not even just all one-punch knockout power. 12 of those stoppages are submission wins. And yeah, he's not, on his back throwing up arm bars, but he is snatching necks and making stuff happen in scrambles.
Necks, cash and checks.
There you go.
That's how I live my life.
Ryan Spann is an insanely dangerous guy who is coming into a fight against a relatively green Bogdan Guskov. Bogdan Guskov is heavy-handed, though. He wants to come forward, throw big, mix things up. When he's striking, he can be fast and he can have some very real power. He keeps his hands low, but he's got decent footwork and nice combinations. If he does not get a knockout early, or if he doesn't have enough success striking, he will look to close the distance and grapple, get this fight to the ground. I am going to pick Ryan Spann. He's going to have to be the pick, right? He does have a 2-fight losing skid, but I think he won his last fight. I thought he beat Anthony Smith. I thought he straight up beat Anthony Smith in that fight.
Should have finished that fight.
All that wild, Anthony Smith was almost unconscious. Anthony Smith was a bloody mess. And the judges now that only care if you bleed a little bit, they 100% would have scored it for Ryan Spann. I thought he won that fight. But okay, straight up numbers-wise, he didn't land as many strikes. And the fight before that to Nikita Krylov, he did lose, and he did lose quickly. But if you remember, that fight was booked, canceled on fight night, and then rebooked. It was a sloppy week, and it just got whatever. He came out there, he made a mistake. But the reality is Ryan Spann is big. He is dangerous. Ryan Spann should win this fight. That's why he's a 2-1 favorite. But Bogdan hits like a freight train, can come forward, can land something. I'm going to pick Ryan Spann. I'm not going to pick somebody hoping for a lucky one punch because, well, lucky's probably the wrong word, but one punch knockout is the only way Bogdan wins this fight. He's not going to outwork Ryan Spann because as massive as he is, he has plenty of cardio. He's not going to out-wrestle Ryan Spann. He's got decent takedown defense. He's not going to out-grapple him. Ryan Spann's a good grappler. So the only way Bogdan wins this fight is by knockout, and I just think it's a little too early in his UFC career to get that against a guy like Ryan Spann. So Ryan Spann is going to be the pick. Undecided on bets. What do you think, Jake?
How long was that breakdown? That felt like
it was a while. Yeah, no, it felt
long.
It felt long.
Jesus Christ.
It did.
This is, in my opinion, a 50-50 fight. I can see this fight being over in the first 2-3 minutes because I know Bogdan. Bogdan is a former Lock of the Week. I had him as Lock of the Week versus Zach Pauga. Absolutely smoked him because I knew Pauga wasn't like a super dangerous guy, wasn't going to be able to get the takedowns, and Bogdan was going to have the space he needed to land the shot. Ryan Spann is a little bit different than Zach Pauga. He's a big dude. He knows how to strike. He's got power on his own. By the way, the Pacers just went up 12 with 9 minutes to go, so we're feeling really good about my bet and how we're headed for this series about to take home court advantage. But Bogdan is a guy that, I mean, at 205, you don't want people that you're betting on to fight the way that he fights. Listen, guys, I love Bogdan. He is going to be my pick because I think it's a 50-50 shot, and I think he's got the power, and he's going to be a little bit faster than Ryan Spann. A lot of times with these 205ers, it's speed that does not power. It's speed. And I think he is going to be a little bit faster in the striking. But he fights with his hands low. And when he wants to be one of those guys, like a Sean O'Malley, like a Bobby Green, to where they're not hands up, and they're not slipping stuff and using footwork. They want to just slip stuff just out of the way. right? I mean, they want to barely slip stuff so they can come over with a nice right hand or a nice left hand. He switches stances pretty well, but they want to get just out of the way. And sometimes when you're not just out of the way, you get fucking knocked out. I think that Bogdan gets in his face, somebody lands something early and hurts somebody, and then this fight's over quick. I'm going with Bogdan because I think he's going to be the faster guy. But this is much different than the Puga fight. And if he tries to bring that Zach Puga fight into this fight, he could run into some issues. So I like Bogdan. He's former lock of the week. He's going to be my pick, but I think it's 50-50. And whoever gets to the punch quicker is going to win this one.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I don't think it's 50. So if they're both just slinging.
Stupid too.
If they're both just slinging leather, standing there, then yeah, of course it's 50-50. But you don't think Ryan Spann's he's clearly bigger, clearly longer, clearly probably hits harder. The better grappler. Like,
there's not going to be any grappling.
I don't necessarily think so either, but it should be interesting. Ryan Spann, hits like an absolute freight train. So this could be this. I'm good with this co-main event.
Freight train, you put a penny on the rail. That freight train's derail, baby.
Yeah.
Choo-choo.
No, that's not true. It just smushes it. We used to put pennies on the rail all the time, and then we'd go the next day.
And I don't think there's a statute of limitations on something like that. You could have derailed the whole passenger car, killed 400 people, Angelo.
That's, first of all, I don't think there were passenger trains floating through the neighborhood. Those were...
you live in the Northeast. Half the trains are passenger trains.
Half of them are, but this was not. This was literally like rocks. It was coming from the Darios.
Is it true that you used to teabag the third rail just for a little shock, just to feel something?
There was not a third rail on these. The third rail are the commuter trains. This wasn't a commuter train. This was like a coal fire train. And your piss stream isn't solid enough for that to even happen, by the way.
Mythbusters.
Yes.
Exactly. I said teabag and not pee on it, dumbass. You dropped your nutsack right on that third rail.
Okay. We're almost done here, guys. I promise you. $8,900 in DraftKings? Probably not. I'm probably going to shoot my shot on Bogdan at $7,300 in DraftKings because you need underdogs when you're building your lineup, and $7,300 is not terrible for a guy that could potentially win by knockout. I do think Ryan Spann wins this fight, but I'm not confident enough to bet him at 2-1. 2-1 is crazy. While I don't think this is a 50-50 fight, it's certainly not a 2-1 fight either. Are you going to have a Boggy Boy in your DraftKings fantasy lineup?
I think he's going to make it in there, to be honest with you.
There you go. There you absolutely go. Well, if you want to check out all the picks, the bets, the round line leans, and more, WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. It is only $10 hairs for an entire month. Before you go, let me give you $50. Anybody who goes to WeWantPicks.com/bets and signs up with any one of our affiliate partners gets $50 as a thank you. Use the link, sign up, make a deposit. We send you $50 as a thank you.